All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to round 5 of the Hollow Knight All Skills 2021 tournament. This is the 1-2-2-1 bracket. This match will be between Rhino and Cerpin. Rhino is the favored runner here with a PB of 51.04, while Cerpin has a PB of 54.44. So this should be a pretty close race. The runners are within about 3.5 minutes of PB, so there's definitely room for either of them to pull out a win here. Then, without further ado, we will begin to count down the runners.
We're talking about maybe splitting the channel since there's two going on at once right now. So we don't mess up countdowns.
All right, Pain, Rhino, and Cerpin in the races discussion. One then, and we'll do it in there.
I know that Sylvie's currently counting down for the other race going on currently. Right, they're both ready. Let's go ahead and count it down.
All right. All right, the runners have been counted down. As soon as the stream catches up, they will be off. All right, looks like they're just about there. All right, Rhino is loading in. So the runners here will be starting with a drop into King's Pass. And 1-2-2-1, you are able to pause as soon as you spawn in on King's Pass for an early control here, where they would then perform an inventory drop to skip the hard fall animation that wastes about 7 seconds on current patch. Movement through Kane's Pass here is pretty simple. The only couple things to watch are that Vengefly pogo that both runners just made and the soft fall out of this broken full art here. Both runners do get the soft fall and the Vengefly pogo. Rhino gets out of King's Pass with a 51.54, which is an extremely good time. Cerpin with
51.66.
Yeah, those are great King's Pass times from both runners.
Oh.
Both runners slashing the sign for that Mender Bug RNG for later.
Rhino getting hit on the way down. And Serp.
Cerpin goes for center drop here and actually gets hit twice. The center drop is known for being a little bit more consistent and not getting hit, but if you do get hit, you lose more time. So unfortunately for Cerp, that happened.
Rhino getting the double aspid spike. Cerpin missing it.
Oh no, Cerp. I think we're definitely seeing some race nerves hit Cerp here. And that's to be expected. It looks like she recovers well, though, and will be back off. Rhino going to statue pogo and gets the statue pogo as we'd expect from him.
Zerk getting hit a couple times by the Vengefly on the way to False Knight.
Yeah, Serp's definitely had a rough VS split here. I'm sure she's not happy about it, but hopefully she can move past it and continue better for the rest of the race. As Rhino... What?
I was going to say that Rhino is getting hit by the husk going into the arena, it looked like.
Yeah, it's actually really easy to get hit by those husks before False Knight, because as he spawns, he'll cut your vertical momentum, and trying to avoid that can lead to some interesting movement. Serp notably has a better False Knight fight than Rhino because of good RNG. Both of the runners did have a pretty solid False Knight fight. Serp in chat says, "Somebody play for me, please." You got this, Cerpin. We believe in you. Rhino with a 332 VS, it looks like, which is a pretty solid VS split. Even in like PB attempts, I'm sure he'd be okay with that. Cerpin with the 353, which is definitely not what she wanted. At this point, Rhino's about 20 seconds ahead after VS, which is a unprecedented lead this early into the race. But coming up is the Balders, which could cost him that much if you want to talk about the Balders too.
Yeah, because there's a lot of RNG with getting that spit first try, so you gotta just hope.
Yeah, it's 50%.
Second split.
Yeah, Rhino gets second split. It's 50% for a Balder every spit, and each spit that isn't a Balder loses about 1.5 seconds. So there's a significant bit of RNG if you get a lot of bad spits.
So getting first spit.
Yeah, that'll allow Serp to gain a quick second on Rhino. Definitely won't make up the 20-second deficit. Rhino getting a ton of soul in the Gruz room. Just had a really good RNG pattern. So he's going to have 8 hits of soul going into green path, which will just give him a bit more flexibility. He'll actually be able to go for 2 fireballs on this skip if he messes it up. But he does get it in 1, so we'll just have a lot of backup soul going into the split.
They ended up missing the fireball skip, so she'll have to take the way around.
And that'll lose her about 2 to 3 seconds to Rhino, which is unfortunate, but not the end of the world.
Rhino getting that second fireball skip.
Rhino will get the third fireball skip to go 3 for 3 as Cerpin gets the second one. In this room that Rhino's in right now, you'll see him gathering soul. He needs to get 8 hits of soul going into this Moss Knight here so that he can safely 3 fireball in the event that the 2 fireball strat fails.
And Serp got the third fireball skip.
Yeah, Rhino notably got the 2 fireball strat on the Moss Knight there, but fired off the third one accidentally anyways. I'm sure he's not happy about that.
Serp's having a bit of a rough time in the obel room, getting hit and having a hard fall in there.
Yeah, and Serp fails to get a full 8 hits of soul in that room, leading to her taking a hit of damage from the Moss Knight after missing the double fireball. Serp wisely taking some time to heal. We've seen a lot of races in this tournament be decided by an early death to Hornet and Green Path, so I definitely respect the heal. Serp gets the good Moss Knight RNG. I'm not sure if you saw what Rhino got, too.
It took a little bit longer. He had a bit of trouble with that last night.
Meanwhile, Rhino is in the Hornet fight at 1 mask. Thankfully, I did not commentator's curse. There was no death to Hornet there. Serp with a really great opening to the Hornet 2 fight, just getting an absolute ton of damage with that nail throw. Even though the nail throw attack does reset the stagger, it's actually really good to get in the fight because it just keeps her locked in place and you just kind of wail on her for a while. Both runners here will be heading into the fungal wastes, where we're just going to see a lot of nice clean movement and inventory drops on their way to Explosion Pogo, the second significant trick in the run after the fireball skips.
Serp falling into the acid in that first room in fungal.
Yeah, that'll be an unfortunate time loss. Update on the runners' positions. Cerpin is currently 26 seconds behind Rhino after Mothwing Cloak. You can assume she lost a couple more seconds to that acid dunk, probably putting her close to 30 behind.
Rhino did get his E-Pogo.
And Rhino also gets a really clean Mantis Pogo.
Serp also getting her E-Pogo.
Oh no.
Some trouble with the mantises, it seems.
But we see a real nice backup strat where she fireball stalled to let the mantises get high enough for an easy recovery. So from here, the runners will be making their way back through Crossroads from the ancestral mountain bench all the way over to Gruzmother and Salubra. On their way there, as you see Rhino doing, they will be trying to get 6 hits of soul for the Gruzmother quick kill. Cerpin is currently 32 seconds behind after the Mantis Claw split. So far this race, we've seen Rhino gaining just a few seconds on every split, and Serp's going to be hoping to change that if she wants to come back here. Serpin's Gruzmother kill was a bit slower than Rhino's, so we will definitely see a little bit of time lost for her there as well.
Rhino's setting up for Shade Skip.
Yeah, so Cerpin sets up for her Shade Skip. We will spare you guys the jokes of, oh my gosh, they died, because that's been said a million times in this tournament. Both runners get the Shade Skip first try, very clean, and Cerpin will begin making her way across Blue Lake. Since he is ahead, I'm going to switch the audio to Rhino.
Seems like after Blue Lake, Rhino's ahead by 36 seconds, which is another 4 seconds gained towards him, but it still can be made up by Serp.
Yeah, some things to note right now is Rhino has a very safe amount of Geo, so we wouldn't expect him to run into any Geo problems going into the dash/split here. Cerpin seems to be really safe on Geo as well, even more so than Rhino. Cerpin might actually be able to skip some Geo sources because of how much she has.
The chat's saying Rhino's audio seems to be a bit low.
All right, give me a moment and I will try and fix that. Ooh, Rhino unfortunately misses that floaty dude. I don't even know what it's called, which might mess up his soul gathering for the hoppers here. Looks like it does not, though. He gets through them very clean. Cerpin making quick work of the hoppers as well. Nothing too significant to comment here on the split because both runners are doing it very cleanly. We have a question in chat. What happened to the timers, or does it legit take the runners only 14 minutes to get to Oro? It legit takes the runners only 14 minutes to get to Oro. They are fat.
Seems like Cerp's stream is paused for a second.
Yeah, which is definitely unfortunate, but it looks like we already have it back, which is awesome.
So because of that pause in Cerp's stream, we don't know entirely how long it took. But with a rough estimate, we think that Rhino's currently 47 seconds ahead, which is an additional 11 from our previous check-in.
Yeah, as always, shoutouts to Rixian in chat for keeping track of times in pretty much all of these races. Cerpin unfortunately falls after hitting the lever skip there. That'll lose her a bit of time. Those husks can really be a pain to deal with and can just get in your way real bad sometimes. Cerpin will decide to heal before going into Sanctum, which is definitely a wise choice. Though knowing how far behind she is, I wouldn't expect to see her play too safe.
Rhino getting Shade Soul at around 16-14.
All the Soul Warrior unfortunately dodges Cerpin's second fireball, so she has to go and finishes up with the nail, but does so fairly cleanly. Meanwhile, the Soul Warrior, not Soul Twister, as I meant to say earlier, is messing with Rhino and jukes one of his fireballs, which I'm sure he's not happy about. Rhino makes it through the Soul Twister room very safely. The Twister stayed out of his way for the most part, and will be on his way to Soul Master with full soul.
With Cerp getting Shade Soul, that's now a 58-second difference between the two.
Let's see Rhino give an attempt at the Soul Master quick kill here. Unfortunately, depending on what Soul Master does, it can go very unfavorably. But Soul Master does cooperate with Rhino decently well at the start, although giving him some bad teleports at the end, making it not the fastest fight, but not the slowest he could have done.
So we're getting a pretty fast fight, although getting caught in the elevator on the way up.
Oh no, Soul Master dodges one of Rhino's Shade Souls, and he'll lose a little bit of more time on the second phase. If Cerp has a good Soul Master fight here, she can easily gain probably about 10 seconds. Fortunately, misses the first fireball on Soul Master, though does get much better RNG than Rhino, and will still finish the fight significantly quicker. Real good execution on that from Cerp as well.
We're getting a quick pause on Rhino stream as well.
Looks like they might be syncing the timers here. So Rhino will be making his way out of Soul Sanctum. Should be safe, even though he's only at 2 masks. The only place he will have to worry is that the Great Husk Sentry coming up will do 2 masks of damage and has been known to kill runners who get a little too greedy with Geo.
And it seems that after the Soul Master fight, there's still 58 seconds between the two, so there is no time lost or gained on either side.
So Rhino here looking a little bit low on Geo, but manages to get it all with just a little bit of a trek out of the way just to grab a few from that Husk after the dive. And will be set for the rest of the run after reaching 300 here. Rhino gets the Coyote jump in King Station, a deceptively difficult jump for non-runners. You actually have to jump so late that you're no longer on the platform to get that. Cerpin running into... Yeah, that definitely won't be good for her going into the Crystal Peak split. She's going to want to find somewhere to heal before that. I assume she'll get some soul from these husks. Yeah, thankfully for her, as she waits for the stag to show up, she should have time for pretty much a free heal. As chat points out, Rhino is gaming right now. Rhino's had a really clean run so far.
Seems like Rhino's going for Pogax. He does
Love to see it. Cerpin loses 8 seconds at the King Station stag, bringing her deficit down to 1 minute and 6. This race is really starting to get away from her. She loses much more time here. It's going to be pretty much sealed and done for Rhino.
Rhino did miss God Pixel on the way up.
Yeah, he was really close there. If he had if that laser was just a couple frames behind, he would have hit the God cycle. I was surprised he didn't, to be honest.
Me too. It seemed like he was partway through and then he got hit.
Yeah. Rhino at a pretty safe 4 masks going into the Crystal Heart Room. You kind of expect to take at least 1 damage on the way here. Some runners will do a damageless cycle to keep it extra safe. Rhino will do that. The damageless cycle notably loses about 0.3 seconds to the damage cycle and is slightly tighter to execute, but it does save you that mask, which can be very important in this split.
Serp did not go for the Pogax, although we'll see if she gets God Pixel.
Yes.
Looks like she won't go for it because the timing was just a little bit off for her.
Yeah, Cerp ran into a bit of trouble in that room, but recovered pretty well. And then goes for the right side strat in the next room. Takes a damage there, but since she didn't take a damage going for God Pixel, she is still at a comfortable 4 mask. Seeing some very clean crushers from Rhino, as well as almost showing off the really cool wall clean storage for that room, but unfortunately catching the very bottom of that ledge.
They did save the grub, which makes me happy.
Yes. Rhino does fall once in the dark room, but seems to make it through the second time safely. He should be safe for the remainder of the split. He still has to go through Crystallized Mound, but with free mask, he's pretty safe from any crazy chain damage.
It seemed like Serp went for the damage tank in getting Crystal Heart.
Yeah. And as chat points out, we did see a underplat from both runners. You'll love to see it. We'll see if they'll show us some underplats as well in the Dream Platform segment.
Rhino also getting that early out in the Descending Dark.
Yeah, that early control saving about 7 seconds and having a pretty significant influence on these splits because you need to make sure you reach the end of them with 2 masks so that you can take that damage tank.
Serp getting hit a little bit in the dark room leading up to Descending Dark.
Yeah, Serp will be at 2 masks here, meaning she can't mess up at all in this room if she wants to be able to go for the early control.
Missing her pogo a couple times.
Yeah, that spike pogo is very tight to get, especially considering that you need to do so quickly jumping off that turning platform. It's one of the harder small time saves in the run, in my opinion. Rhino does show us a nice underplat in the Dream platform segment. He is 2 for 2. We'll see if Cerpin will go 2 for 2 on underplats. As we all know, while times matter during these races, whoever has the most underplats is the real winner.
After Descending Dark, there's now a minute 15, so it's an additional second between the two.
Yeah, Serp really fighting here to try and stay on pace with Rhino, but Rhino is just playing extremely well right now, making it difficult for Serpin to gain any time on him.
Serp did fall in the Dream Plats, which will waste some time.
Yeah, about 7 seconds, unfortunately. I think a bit more since it was on the first platform. Though Serp does get a Dream Underplats to recover from that fall. Love to see it. Respect the Underplats always. Rhino falling a little behind on the Watcher Knight cycle. They're a bit out of sync, but is doing a decent job at making good work of them. Meanwhile, Serp will just about be entering the Watcher Knights fight. To talk a little bit about it, it is less worrisome to actually die for high-level runners in this category than it is in some other categories. But there is still a lot of technicality in it with regards to how you minimize bad RNG and adapt to rollaways and bounces to kill them as quick as possible and ideally together so that the next set of 2 spawns immediately afterwards. Serp getting an unfortunate roll there and an unfortunate bounce. Recovers sort of, but is looking a little scary. It's definitely easy to, when you get a bad cycle, over damage tank and end up at 1 mask like this, which puts Serp in a very sketchy situation. No.
Serp accidentally running into a knight.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Only need 1 more D-Dark to finish that fight.
We should have that bench there. So
yeah, thankfully.
Not too long of a back.
And that just shows that technicality in the fight that I was talking about, where as you try and adapt to that RNG, you can make decisions that might be faster, but will ultimately lead to you taking damage. And if you make too many decisions to take damage, you can end up in a situation like that, where Serp had to do the whole second half of the fight at 1 mask, and unfortunately took a hit at the very end.
Well, Rhino going through Ismas, it seems like he got it first try.
And Rhino showing us off a early control on the Wurmp, as well as, I believe, the Isma's particle glitch. Yes. Neat little glitch where if you get hit for the early control on the Wurmp, just as you pick it up, you maintain the green particles all the way until your next quit out. It doesn't affect gameplay, but just looks kind of cool.
Seems that Serp's again at 1 HP, but we'll see how this fight goes.
Alright, Serp manages to clean it up this time. That's good. With that death to Watcher Knights, though, I sadly have to say that this race is looking very much definitively Rhino's. There's still time for stuff to happen. Rhino could die somewhere, but being as high a caliber a runner as he is, I would deem that very unlikely.
I feel like the only place he could end up dying would be at Hornet 2 during that fight.
Yeah, for sure. That's the most likely spot. Wow, Rhino making it through the Mauler's damage list. That is not something you see very often. I've done...
Who is ahead?
Who is ahead? Rhino is ahead right now. But I have done just about 300 runs of all skills, and I have never made it through the Mauler's damage list. So, shout outs to Rhino.
Shoutouts to Rixie giving us another time update. There's now 3 minutes and 18 seconds between the two. That Watcher fight really set Serp behind.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. We have a question in the chat asking what that wall claim storage was off the Mauler. It actually wasn't wall claim storage off the Mauler. If you just kind of hug any sort of wall as you jump over it, there's a chance based on, I think, like pixel positioning. It's not replicatable, unfortunately, as far as we know. That you'll just get a wall clean storage. It seems to happen a lot over that mall arc, and if you do enough runs, you do see it over and over. It's a nice little thing. I think it does save a little bit of time when you do get it, but it's not significant enough to really be notable.
Serp going through Ismas now. She does get it first try as well.
Love to see a clean Ismas from both the runners.
And it's getting that easy control with the worm.
Yeah, Cerp unfortunately does not go for the particle glitch. Understandable, as I'm sure she's more focused on getting the race back to as close as possible at the moment. Yeah, unfortunately, with that quit out from Broken Vessel, Rhino will lose his Isma's particle glitch. And with a bit of a stream freeze time warp, he is now at Hidden Station. Coming up here is the Hornet 2 fight. Hornet 2 notably being the most difficult boss in the All Skills run. She's very quick, and which means that runners kind of just need to adapt to whatever attack she throws at them and just try and keep hitting her as much as possible and hope she does not parry their spells, which is unfortunately an ability she has.
And then also keep an eye out for the obstacles that she puts around the arena. Keep an eye on those. Make sure you don't accidentally run into them. Clear them when needed.
Cerpin unfortunately takes 2 hits of damage in the Maul Arc room, but being at full soul, that is not much of a problem. She'll probably take 1 heal as the Broken Vessel spawns here, though might not because she wants to just try and bring the time back at this point. Rhino doing a good job with the Hornet fight, getting some unfortunate bits of movement, but making quick work of her. Meanwhile, Cerpin does have a pretty solid Broken Vessel fight, it looks like. And we'll pick up the Monarch wins.
Rhino getting that nail art charge coming out of King's Brand.
Yeah, that nail art release early control is a nice little glitch. A little scary one, especially for new runners who don't have the visual cue down, because you can invalidate your run if you release it too soon. Worth noting that Cerpin seems a bit low on Geo here. There will still be a couple points to pick some up, but she is expected to have 250 by the time she reaches the Distant Village Stag. And if she doesn't, it could be difficult for her to make that up. I'd assume she missed some at the Watcher Knight's chest, because it's uncommon to see runners low on Geo here because they get all they need from that chest. Cerpin is entering the Hornet 2 fight here. Hopefully it'll go just as clean for her as it did for Rhino.
Rhino getting that freeze, but showing up again. Getting Cyclone Slash.
Oh no, Serp taking a lot of damage. Unfortunately, a death to Hornet 2. Hornet 2 reminding us that she is a force to be reckoned with and that she is never a free fight.
And Rixien talking about checking Geo and constructive cynicism, saying that Roxanne Devout, while in V-Sten, could make up that lost Geo.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that Cerpin isn't aware that she's low on Geo. Since it isn't a problem, a lot of runners won't even look at their Geo after they get the Watcher Knight's chest. And if she doesn't notice, it could result to even more lost time than it already will. Rhino is starting the Umu fight here, positioning Umu so that he can get an easy one cycle. Easy in quotation marks, as the one cycle is rather precise, and you see even top runners miss it on occasion, either to just jankiness in the Umu fight or messing up of their own accord. But Rhino will get it.
Oh no, Serp dying again in the Hornet fight.
You hate to see it. Being such a quick boss, it's really easy to see runners in these race settings get kind of tilted by Hornet, where you die once and then it's just in your head and it makes it easier to die the second time.
Really just gotta try our best to shake it off and keep going, although it can be pretty rough at times. And Serp getting hit by that explosive.
Yeah, really cool freeze frame for us. Showing off that Hollow Knight art. Make that like a desktop wallpaper.
Well, I'm sure Serp is not pleased about it.
No. You might see her take the bench before Hornet here, as I doubt she will want to go in with 2 masks.
It's like she is going for the bench.
All right, hopefully third time is the charm for Cerpin, as the saying goes.
Meanwhile, Rhino pushes on, having gotten Monomon already.
Yeah, Cerpin having a really great start to this fight so far, already getting 2 doubles in. And of course I jinxed it and she gets hit twice, but still doing some really good damage to Hornet. I believe she just got another double there, though. It was kind of hard to tell. And yeah, that was a really quick fight. Even though she did get all the way down to 2 mash, she was having really, really good damage there. It was a solid Hornet fight.
Good damage and rather minimal parries. Cerpin chat saying sorry about Hornet. You have nothing to apologize for. It's all right.
Yeah, good job toughing through it. Rhino very cleanly getting the Durandal cycles here for these C dashes on his way to Great Slash. Good movement all around from him here. Until he dunks in the spikes. That will only be very minor time loss, and the damage does not matter as he will quit out in just a moment.
Amy in chat calling Hornet a nerd. And Serp once again getting hit by the explosion on the way back into King Station.
Yeah, of course, that damage will not matter this time, as she will need to bench at Dirtmouth anyways. And some really clean movement from Rhino through Fog Canyon here. Getting the 3 hits of soul that runners are looking for going into this Dartfly arena.
Imagine you got all 3 in one hit there.
Yeah, very clean Dartfly arena from Rhino.
Serp getting hit a couple times through Howling Cliffs.
Yeah, of course, the only significance of that damage will be the freeze frames that the damage takes, because she will quit out immediately right here and be back at 5 masks. Rhino will be making his way through Queen's Gardens and then Dark Deep Nest here. This notably a split where his damage does matter a decent amount. He will need to take a mandatory damage tank in a moment, but being at 5 masks, I doubt he's worried about his health.
Also need to be careful with Dark Deepness, as hitting any of the hazards around Dark Deepness will set you back to the beginning of the room.
Yeah, as Serp makes her way to Umu, we see her have much better luck with the middle platform drop this time. Does not get hit. While Rhino has really clean movement through that platforming section in Queen's Gardens there.
Rhino now beginning his Dark Deep Nest.
Yeah, these Dark Deep Nest rooms are really just memorizing a set of inputs for most people. It's kind of crazy to watch from a viewer's standpoint, as it's really hard to tell what's going on. But I assure you the runners know probably just about every inch of these rooms. So even if they do run into a little bit of trouble, they will be able to adjust.
Rhino getting through, no problem. Chat's crossing their fingers for good Umu RNG for Serp.
Yeah, Serp is starting to set up the one cycle. Umu looks rather far to the right here. But it doesn't mean the cycle is not possible. He's actually pretty fine. And gets the one cycle. Very cleanly, I might add.
Jamie asking what the great slash devout strat was that Rhino did.
Yeah, it's a strat that I believe Murray labbed out 2-3 weeks ago, probably at this point. Personally, I don't even really know how it works, I'm going to be honest. But it is a nice strat.
Seems that Serp is still low on Geo, so she will have to still find that, hopefully within the devouts at Beast-Den.
Yeah, if she notices now, we might see a really blessed visit to MMC in a genuine routing decision in this race, as I believe that would be her quickest source of the necessary geo. And informed that Rhino is about 30 seconds behind his PB right now. Unfortunately, that seems to suggest we won't see a PB from him, as it's unlikely he will gain 30 seconds in these splits. But I guess it is still possible. I don't know how great his Hollow Knight fight is in his PB or his Abyss. Unfortunately, we will not see an MMC kill from Serp. Understandable, as it's unlikely that most runners would think of that routing decision in the middle of a run. And we still don't know if she's even aware of her low geo.
Fixian saying that Rhino should just donate the leftovers. If only it works that way.
When Cerpin picks up Great Slash, we'll just see some very clean Abyss movement from Rhino. Moving to race here is really just a lot of well-timed C dashes, trying to let him go as quick as possible with a few dashes in between to find the right positioning. Rhino tries to show off a nice Shade Cloak strat for rear that crawled, but tries to dash a little bit too early, it looks like, and manages to get hit. Serp going for a risky C-dash there in Fog Canyon. That has about a 50-50 chance to do 2 masks of damage to you if that Uma is in the wrong position. But she does get the good RNG, and it will save a few seconds of time for her. Rhino running into a bit of trouble on the Abyss climb.
Serp having some trouble getting that crystal dash at the beginning.
It looks like Rhino will finish off his climb pretty well. Other than that little messy bit in the middle, it was a decent climb. Cerpin running into a lot of trouble in the Dartfly arena here. Being at 2 masks is not what we want to see at this split. I'd expect to see her heal at least once, if not twice, before continuing on.
She does go for those 2 heals.
Rhino will bench before the Hollow Knight fight to heal up all the way after the little bit of scuff in his Abyss climb. And will make his way to the fight.
Serp slowly making her way towards Dark Deepness. Let's hope that she can get through it cleanly. It seems she does mess up one of her Shade Soul casts.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And then misses the hazard respawn, which forces her to take an extra hit of damage. Though free mask is still more than enough for this split.
She gets the 1 hit off so she can cast the Descending Dark within that first room of Dark Deepness.
Rhino having a pretty solid Hollow Knight fight so far. Not getting too many unfortunate dodges, and managing to skip the first scream straight into the stab phase. But does miss the scream skip. With that said, he will finish off the Hollow Knight in just a moment.
Cerpin is making her way through Dark Deepness currently. Seems she made it through that first room cleanly, and in my opinion, that is the hardest room.
Yeah, and as Cerpin does that, Rhino will finish up the game here with a time of 51:32, less than 30 seconds behind his PB. And with a PB as good as Rhino's, that is extremely impressive. Huge GG's to him. We will switch the audio over to Cerpin now as Rhino is finished. And Mark Rhino is done. Alright, Cerpin is aware of her low geo as she is grabbing a little bit of beast in there. Oh no. Cerpin missing the first couple hits of that dive there on the devout. And just not noticing, it looks like, leading to a lot of unfortunate damage and a death. Thankfully, because she's already done the arena and the hazard respawn, she will get a little bit of an easier trek back.
Did have to pause briefly to get some extra soul as she fell into the spikes and needed to get that soul back after a heal. Looks like she didn't go for the descending dark there.
Yeah, which is notably a little bit faster, but is riskier.
Because that spider could end up hitting you in the end.
Is almost knocked into the spikes by that spider there, but just barely misses them and will make it through the last room of dark deepness safely. Devout being much friendlier to her this time, she will go to pick up Hair of the Beast.
It was risky as she was on, I believe, 2 masks, so if she did get hit by the Devout's attack, that would be another death.
Showing off some nice Cyclone hits on the Dreamers. Notably, a newer idea that is optimal theoretically, but extremely difficult to do perfectly and get all 7 hits.
Yeah, you would need to wiggle very quickly back and forth just to make sure you get all those hits. Cerp also doing the great slash on.
Cerp will now make her visit to the Abyss, where we will see her pick up Shade Cloak and the Abyssal Shriek, and then she will go and kill the Hollow Knight herself.
Seems like the stream freezes. She's now opening the door to the Abyss.
Showing off some nice inventory drops down to the bottom. And will now be approaching the Sibling Climb. The Sibling Climb being a significant bit of reactive movement in this run. The Siblings can drift anywhere pretty much around these platforms.
Not to mention they also do 2 masks of damage, so it can be risky when they start drifting.
Unfortunately, Cerp takes a death to them, which is something that is really easy to do in situations where you take 1 hit. It's because of just the big crack and knocking you down, it's really easy to take those next 2 hits. Cerpin finding her own shade in the large massive shades at the climb, and sketchily getting through. Yeah. She will safely be able to make it to Shade Cloak here, though, as there's no other points for her to take damage until she reaches the cloak, which will heal her. You see Cerpin quit out upon entering the Shade Cloak fountain here, as it is faster in-game time compared to watching the cutscene, and Hollow Knight is timed in in-game time, not real time. So it saves a few seconds.
Also getting hit by the crawlid on the way to.
Yeah, not super significant, but might mean that she decides to bench before Hollow Knight, losing about 5 seconds.
Her taking some damage on the way up. She will probably end up benching before the Hollow Knight fight.
Yeah. With that said, a relatively clean Abyss climb, other than that missed pogo right there. Even with the damage, it is pretty quick. Cerp just scared me a little bit, dashing over those spikes. She will be able to safely heal either in the Black Egg Temple or at Dirtmouth before the fight. It is slightly faster to heal at Dirtmouth with the bench, but a lot of runners in the moment don't really think about it.
Well, Cert does go for that bench in dirt mouth. And she also gets that nail art drop to avoid the hard fall coming out of the well.
Tries to show us off one of the fun knight animations, but just misses it. If your knight is in the process of performing an animation as it enters this black egg temple load zone, it will be locked in that animation and just kind of slide off to the right. A very fun glitch, loses time, but is fun for the fans, as they say. Cerpin giving a try at the Cyclone Wiggles there and sort of hitting them. They're a newer strat. Runners are still getting it down consistent, and that was a decent attempt at it.
Getting a lot of dashes, which isn't entirely optimal to be able to shoot.
Yeah, the dash notably being really the worst thing the Hollow Knight can do in this category. While parrying is the worst in any percent, it actually doesn't have too much of a bearing on Hollow Knight fights in all skills, as the streak will still hit through the parry for the most part.
Missing the scream skip, but did get Nick push root off.
And with that, Cerpin will be done. Looking like she will end up with a time of about 104.25, which is about 10 minutes behind her PB. I'm sure she's not particularly happy about it, but it is a race, and any time of completion is respectable under the pressure of a race setting. Shout outs to Cerpin for toughing it out with a couple really unfortunate deaths there. I will mark her as done, and hopefully we will get the runners in for a post-match interview here.
Hello.
Hello, Rhino. GG's.
Thank you.
Really good run. Only 28 seconds behind your PB.
Hi. Hello.
Hey.
Hello, GG's.
GG, Cerpin. GG.
JD.
Before we talk about anything specific, is there anything you two would like to comment on about your runs?
I guess start. I obviously not a PB, but I'm never gonna be upset running within 30 seconds of my PB in a no reset tournament type setting. So definitely a lot of things I wish would have gone better or cleaned up. But overall, fairly happy with my performance today.
Awesome.
Can I be not happy? Holy crap. I swear that 1 second Watcher Knight made like the death sound off screen. So I got like a full shock when I found out like I still had that one left from the second pair.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought you killed it as well with the Shade Soul.
Like, yeah.
You did.
I know for a fact that I heard the like Watcher Knight explosion thingy afterwards. And I don't understand anything.
Yeah, that was definitely rough.
Why is this game?
Yeah. And what happened with the devout in Dark Deep or in Deep Nest? Don't understand how it's.
I missed part of the D-Dark. I don't know, probably the very first part, and then the freeze frames from something ate my Shade Soul input.
Oh no. Yeah.
So that was an event.
Yeah, that was unfortunate to see.
That was about the same that happened with the sibling climb. I had like 3 or 4 wings inputs eaten because I pressed like slightly too early.
Oh no.
That was fun.
Mm.
Yeah, so other specific things, I guess. Did you know you were low on Geo the whole time, or did you not notice until you got in the...
I knew I was low, I just didn't know exactly how low. I was hoping that like just making sure I got a bit of the like Petra Geo and Devout both ways would fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw that was like 50 extra, so I just had to grab some Geo Rocks as well.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd see a quick MMC kill to make up for it.
If I knew how to do that kill, then sure. I know it's just Shade Souls, but like,
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah. So and then Rhino, we heard according to chat, you were 25 seconds behind after dive. So being able to finish 28 seconds only for the rest of the run, only losing 3 seconds, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really feel like mentally in it at the start of the race. Like I against Hornet 1, I literally just forgot my damage rotation and was missing an entire nail slash. I'm like, why are my like fireballs not lining up? But I realized that by the time the fight was over, I'm like, okay, whatever. And then yeah, at dive on my splits, I was 22.7 seconds behind. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I actually had a run 2 days ago live on stream where I was 25 seconds behind at wings, and then I walked into THK green. So I was like, you know what? Like, PB still isn't even off the table here. So I kept running hard. And then, you know, I at one point I was like 38, 39 seconds behind PB, I think after Hornet 2. And at that point, I don't watch the streams when I'm racing because it just makes me nervous and distracts me. But what I do have is my wife actually hangs out in the room with me, and she watches the stream, and like just periodically if I ask her, she tells me what kind of pace I'm on, like compared to my opponent. And I knew how far ahead I was, so at that point I kind of just relaxed, and I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna like PB's probably off the table, so let's just play safe, play smart, and make sure we finish without any catastrophic errors here.
Sure. Well, great race. Unless, do you have any questions for the runners?
No, I do not.
All right, I guess barring that, I think we'll wrap it up here. Unless the runners have anything else they'd like to say about their...
GG, shoutouts to not dying.
Yeah, GG Cerpin, thanks Spicy and 2 for comms.
Yeah, thank you to the runners for putting on a good show for us. Thank you to 2 for being a great co-com with me, and thank you to chat for being a bunch of cuties. We will wrap up here. Before I do so, I'm going to see, I believe we probably have some other races going on today, and I will find out when those are.
Is there another race right after?
There are actually no other races going on today. There was a race simultaneously with this one. And the next race will be at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow between Tipu and Taco. And that will be commed by our favorite comms, Herm and Virgil. Virgil,
same thing.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for watching. Have a great rest of your day or night or whatever time it is for you. See ya.
Take care.